Hi, everyone. So my talk is about Halcyon IDE. Just a bit introduction about myself. I work as a security consultant with SecConsult in Singapore. Also one of core team member with Null's Singapore chapter. Into security industry for more than 7 years, doing app testing, mobile, infra, and all kind of security testings. Before that, I used to do a lot of development. Then when I get into security, then I lost everything. I actually got rid of all the developing problems. About Halcyon IDE, that's how you pronounce it. This is just what Google says, but what the tool is about. As you could see the first slide, it's the first IDE for Nmap development, Nmap script development rather. So all started as a routine researchers. We used to develop a lot of internal Nmap scripts for pen testing that we do or some researches that we do. So all type of vulnerabilities, all type of CVs, we try to actually port that into Nmap scripts so it's easy for any pen testers to actually run the scans and find out if it is vulnerable or not. And it's quite easy to develop such scripts as well. As a regular script developer, then I actually realized that this should be something interesting if somebody come up with an IDE that could automate a lot of stuff with developing or like code building or like maybe syntax highlightations and things like that. So I thought of building it my own. This is one of my favorite evening time project. So this is a simple Java-based project. It can actually understand both Nmap and Lua syntaxes and semantics. And it's easy to actually build the tool because it's just a jar file. So it works if you have a JR installed in any platform, so you just double-click and the tool will actually pop up. So the more details about the tool can be available in the official website, halcyon-ide.org. You will find the tool downloads, the GitHub repositories, and so on and so forth. So the current features Halcyon supports are listed here. It understands the code, so it's not a normal IDE, or it actually comes with code intelligence. It understands both the syntaxes, both Nmap and Lua syntaxes. It gives you code completion option that helps you to write code even if you don't remember the code syntax and the prototypes and so on and so forth. This is easy to configure. The jar file automatically understands what platform that you're running, whether it is Mac, Windows, or Linux, and it understands if you are already have an Nmap running on your system, and it picks up the class path informations automatically. And you also have a manual configurations in case if it's required. It also have code generator. So some of the possibly repetitive codes are already bundled with the tool. So if you're actually running something like maybe a brute forcer or a crawler or spider, whatever it may be. So these things are like quite repetitive in nature. So these are already available. So you can just drag and drop. So the code will be already available there. The good thing is it's not only to develop Nmap scripts, but you can also run, debug the code and see if it is throwing any errors, and you can fix the code right there. Along with code building options, this IDE also supports options of exporting the code into the Nmap library and updating the database. Because Nmap, once you develop the scripts, if you need to push that to the Nmap library in the local systems, not the nmap.org website, there are pre and post building options available here. The last two features are just added in the last couple of weeks. They have a built-in decoder in case if you require to decode it within the IDEs, it supports that. It also have a scandiff. This is after I got little reviews from Nmap script developers that they actually wanted a scenario where they need to understand 2 scans at the same target with the same scenarios and figure out what they're writing wrong in the code. So it's easy for them to do a scandiff and figure out what's coming back as a response. So that's added here. The first version of the tool was like terribly bad. I didn't like the interface at all. This is the second version, and I've actually recoded the whole engine. So this is how it looks like. I'll show you the tool quickly. All right, so this is how Halcyon interface looks like. You have the Nmap libraries here. You would find the list of default scripts available with Nmap when you install it for the first time. There are a few other components of Nmap. This is for the Nmap NSE database. It includes databases that you use for brute forcing some services. Yeah, so I'll show you how easy to build. Sorry, my IDE actually got crashed. Usual developer's problem. All right, there you go. Okay, so usually if anybody have developed NSEs before, you would probably open a notepad and start writing the code in a blank flat text editors and save it. And then you actually use a lot of debugging options to run it with Nmap and see if it is working properly or not. All of these activities actually automated here with the GUI support. So I'm trying to save the file here, jtb.nse. You could give a description. This is like a lot of NSE scripts. Probably all NSE scripts actually follows a certain skeleton. So you can give those information here. Ports and services. These are the one of the mandatory component in NSE scripts. And some cases, these NSE scripts differs from other services or other scripts which are dedicated for maybe HTTP service. HTTP-related scripts may not look the same as SSH-related scripts. So they have different skeletons for different services. So you could choose what you want to write or what kind of services that you want to actually test on. So this will basically create skeletons based on the services that you have chosen. You have categories. You could select multi-categories here, and you can create. This basically create the skeleton for you. So the major skeleton of the code is already there once you have the details. Of course, you can change once you have the skeletons if you want to. Maybe some cases if you don't have port 80 running with HTTP, but in a local environment, you have maybe ports 8001, you could definitely change those functions. Something that I've showed you as code generators, this is one of the features that I've added. What it actually does is that I've actually picked up a lot of services that could be possibly pre-coded. So these like for example, brute force related scripts, there are a driver and an engine. These are the two major functions that could be used for any type of brute forcing. If you use brute forcing for SSH, for HTTP auth, or for database authentications, these brute force codes should be ideally the same. So you don't need to write the similar code again and again. Those who do a lot of web application related testings, you would notice that if you want to run or if you want to automate a lot of tasks, one of the major reasons they want to do it because they want to spider the whole web and collect the URLs. And from the URL responses, you would do further test cases. So if you pick up that, you would find the whole crawling code is already there. This is already pre-coded. You don't want to code it again and again, right? And once you have the whole list of details, like in this case, the URL list, this is the variable that basically collects all the URL after crawling is done. And what you only need to do is to just print it back. So the script will basically throw you all list of URLs after it's scanned, finished. Now, yeah, if you see this, this is like a normal autocomplete options that you could find it in other IDEs as well, like Eclipse or Visual Studios. You have the control and space or command and space. You would find the autocomplete options. And these autocomplete options are very specific to Nmap scripts. So I've picked up most of the syntaxes available in Nmap libraries, and this is available here. And you probably need to just change this to a URL list and save it. Now, the default scanme.nmap.org is the target. So if you want to change it to a local instance, you can definitely change it. This understands the word format of port or the numbers. You could actually type maybe HTTP, so it would pick up the port number 80 or SSH for 22. If you are running a specific port numbers, you can give numbers as well. Like the default port is going to scan 1,000 ports as the default options in Nmap. All right, and this is a little options, because sometimes if you want to scan specifically, if you're doing a brute force and you want to actually specify a list of usernames and passwords, these are special arguments that you pass on to a script. You have these options to give the script arguments here if you want to do that. Sometimes if you want to track the whole packet trace but not run Wireshark behind, but if you want to collect all the packet trace while running the scans, you could do that here. These are Nmap options itself, because it's just a GUI interface. You could set it for one, and you could use it for all script development that you're using. So I'm just enabling verbose and turning it on, and then just run the scan. This would definitely throw an error. I wanted to actually show you how easily to identify the error and rectify it from the IDE itself. Your result is right here. You could actually figure out that this is the error it showed up, and it actually shows you that, okay, this is the HTTP spider. This is a class that I'm using, which is not actually declared, and which is in the 15th line. So you could figure out that, okay, I'm using something called an crawler here, like HTTP spider here. You just need to define it. I'm just doing it quickly. Let me save it, run it again. Okay, all right. There's one more library that I have not imported, which is standard NSE, the one that I've used for printing the output. So I need to use similar syntax to declare that as well. All right, hopefully it will work now without any errors. Okay, currently it doesn't show any errors here. So my scan is running. My script is running without any errors. If you want to search on, probably I can use my website. Okay, while the scan is running, I'll also show you some options that you could configure it, especially this one. Yeah. This is the configuration of Halcyon IDE. Basically, it collects all the Nmap class path, and you basically uses these things for all the other scans that you do. the libraries, scripts, and other things. All right, probably the script doesn't look executed, but basically I can write any type of scripts here with all these features and debug that. Some of the cases, if you have the script ready-made, like if you have the script results back and you want to probably use these features called like decoder and scandiff. So decoder is where you can change that into base64. Currently it has base64 hex and URL. Maybe I'll add some more encoding, decoding algorithms if it's required. But so often we see these kind of encoding patterns in the responses from different targets, so you could decode it within the IDEs itself. You also have options for like scandiff. So this is like just one. I'll add one more. Currently I'll do it just for one result itself. I'm not running 2 scans. And you can basically do a diff here. Like in these cases, both the scan results are the same, and so you don't actually find any differences here. But yeah, you could keep adding records into this scandiff options, and then you can find out, which one is different, or which values are deleted or added or modified. So it's easy for any developers to track the changes. And some of the options are like export the script, because once you finish the script, currently I've saved the script into a local directory. It's not saved into an nmap script folders where your installation is there. So once you finish the script development, and if you go to command line and type like nmap -- script and your script name, it's not going to execute because it's not in the library. So it's always important to finish the scripts where you are written, and once you make sure that it's error-free, you could actually copy-paste into the script folders and then update the library. So nmap can identify what category scripts that newly added into the folder. Update script DB will do both the things. It will basically copy the whole newly created script into a script folders and update the nmap database itself. So it's easy for anybody to further run scans using normal command line from anywhere. All right. Okay, so this is the current features available with Halcyon IDE as of now. And what I'm currently working on is kind of a smart help wizard. Usually, Nmap has an amazing wiki online, so you could definitely go to nmap.org/nsedoc and see what the script does and what kind of functions they actually supports. How do you pass the arguments? What kind of responses it actually gives you back? It's just an amazing wiki. The only thing is, you would probably need to navigate to the whole pages to find the correct libraries that you're using. So that takes a little more time. So if you're using an IDE and you want to actually go online and do the references, it's a little tedious job. So I'm actually working on a help wizard that gives you an built-in help that as soon as you actually keep typing any functions names or any variable names, it gives you the relevant help and avoid the whole navigation to nmap NSE doc or documentations. And if you are consistently working on NSE creations, and if you find that this feature should be good to add into an IDE, send it over to me. I'll definitely look into it and keep adding to the current tool. All right, so that's about Halcyon IDE. Any questions?
Right, so any questions from the floor?
All right, thank you.
Right, thank you.